So a few hours ago, I made it back in the movie theater. No, I didn't have a date. I went to the movie theater. Going to the movie theaters alone really isn't that bad. I mean, it is as bad as it sounds, but it's not that bad. I mean, sitting in your room all day playing video games and talking to people over a screen sounds pretty bad, but hey, I do it. I went to go see the movie The Green Inferno. And if you don't know anything about that movie, it's completely fine, honestly. It's this movie about these people, like this young group of people from, I guess, like a college or something, are part of like this activist group that wanted to go out and save the rainforest, which is like, okay, cool. They end up going out to this rainforest to try to like save this, you know, place from getting taken down by all these big bulldozers and shit. They decide to go out there, and don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil it or something. It's all from the trailer. They go out there, their plane ends up crashing, and then they end up in the middle of nowhere with a whole bunch of like these indigenous tribes people. And it turns out that they're all just cannibals, and they just take all of them, and you just watch a movie basically of just like 6 young people getting eaten by cannibals. Yeah, I went to go watch that myself. It was made by Eli Roth. What the fuck? I'm not big on like, oh, this director, this director, that, but Eli Roth, honestly, he doesn't make very good movies, but they're just filled with a bunch of gore and buckets of blood, nudity, and all that good shit, so yeah, of course I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I'm a Call of Duty player. It's no surprise that I'll watch something mindless. Except the pro players, of course. You guys actually use your brains. The shit that I'm doing right now takes no brain activity whatsoever. I'm not even thinking. Apparently, humans taste a lot like pork. Who knew? I feel like this M4 is special for some reason. So after coming home from this embarrassingly lonely adventure, I pulled into my driveway and I noticed that there was something in my driveway when I got out of my car. It was all smushed all over the ground, but I managed to actually recognize what it was. It was like this blue plastic bag, and it had like this little plastic thing inside of this bag. And you could tell that this bag was meant to be like inflated or filled with something. And I actually come across one of those slushy things. They were like this long, and there's always like a plastic little piece inside of it that just like moves all around. Normally like little fish or something, and kids just played with it. You just sat there and squished it all around like that, put your fingers in the ends of it. I'm sure I'll find a picture of it somewhere. I don't even know what else to call it. You know exactly what I mean when you see it. As I looked at it and started remembering all of it, I realized some of the dumbest fucking toys that I had. Back before video games took over my entire life. Once video games struck. See, I don't know why this is, but whenever I think about, like, toys, old-ass toys that I had, number one thing that would pop up in my head are fucking Sock 'em Boppers. Now, if you don't know what the Sock 'em Boppers are, or if you don't even know the theme song of Sock 'em Boppers, I know that shit word for word. There was a part in the song, it's like, blow 'em up, put your hand inside, get ready to have the time of your life, breaking your neighbor's fucking nose with these things. Sock 'em Boppers were basically, like, big-ass gloves that you would blow up, and you just beat the shit out of each other with them. Like, the kids in the commercials were just kind of like sitting there like swinging at each other like, haha, yeah, this is so fun. Look at me, I'm beating you up. But the reality of it is, no, there were kids like throwing straight fucking haymakers and hooks at each other, knocking each other out with these things. It looked like such a fun, harmless toy, because how could you possibly harm someone with plastic and air? It looked like so much fun and so appealing to the parents, because it's like, well, I mean, how could the kids hurt themselves just by hitting each other with a blown up piece of plastic? And the answer is pretty bad. You can injure each other pretty fucking bad. I remember receiving multiple Superman punches straight to the bridge of my nose playing that shit. It was great though. Me and my friends had a blast giving each other concussions. Oh, that was fucking amazing. That was a magical time. It was great because kids could manage to like convince their parents to actually buy these fucking things. They're like, but mom, it's like soft. It's just air. It's like, I can't hurt him with it. See, it's like doing a pillow fight, but it's with our hands. Clearly, they have never been in a serious pillow fight before because you can be injured. And as soon as the parents pick those fucking things up, the kid's like, hey mom, I'm gonna go over to my friend's house now. We're gonna play with Sock 'em Boppers. And the mom is like, okay, have fun, Timmy. And then Timmy in the back of his mind is like, I can't wait to give this motherfucker a spinal contusion. Another thing that I thought about were those scooters that were brought out in gym class. It's a simple seat with like 4 wheels on it. And normally they would have games where you just race each other on it. Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know, the little scooter things in gym class that you run your fingers over with repeatedly. Everybody would just sit down on it. Normally there would be a bunch of rules set. They're like, no going backwards. You can't do this. You can't do that. All this other shit. No ramming into each other. Blah, 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 blah. Try not to run your fingers over and stuff. Don't go too fast. And of course, you know, I'm not gonna fucking follow those rules because I am the fastest seated scooterer on the planet. Instead of sitting on my ass trying to go like this, I would spin this shit around and just sprint backwards. I would just launch myself like a rocket. I remember my Tamagotchi pet that I never fucking took care of. And for some odd reason, when I got that Tamagotchi pet, I thought it was an okay idea to get one of those robotic dog things. It was like a robotic dog pet. But it was like a robot dog and you had like a robot bone and you had to like take care of it. Almost like a real life sim in a sense. It would get thirsty, you had to put this thing in its mouth. It would get hungry, you had to put this thing in its mouth. It would bark randomly and just walk around by itself. Fuck man, I have to find it. No way! I just came across the greatest thing of our generation. Fucking moon shoes. These fucking things, they were basically like trampolines on your feet. They were like glorified men heels. Apparently, if you walked around on these things, you would be able to jump super high. They would show it in the commercials. And you got kids that are 5'4" that jump like 6 feet into the air. And then when you get a hold of it and you strap yourself into it and you try to hop, you jump just as high as you did before. You're basically just jumping higher in a taller pair of shoes. There were these little strap things that kept the feet in the place. And I remember that my cousin would use his moon shoes so much that the straps actually had broken. So he couldn't even use the one foot. And if he did try to jump, it would like dip and your ankle would twist and shit. I remember when Hungry Hippos became a thing. Everybody in every single household had this shit. You knew when everybody was playing because all you would hear upstairs is just a bunch of clicky sounds, smashes, and screams coming from upstairs. It sounds like a Royal Rumble inside of a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit. It was that little spinny toy that you sat down on and all you had to do was rotate the little wheel in the middle and you would just spin. I remember spinning around as fast as I possibly could on that until I tipped over. I'm almost positive every single toy that has ever been invented is never used the exact way that it's meant to be used. Honestly, I would never want to invent something just in fear of somebody killing somebody else with it. I could try to make the most harmless thing. I could make some sort of play pillow and somebody manages to snap someone's neck with it and then I get sued and I'm never inventing anything ever again. Honestly, not much has changed. We just get this shit to fit in with everybody else. And then when it's no longer cool, we just drop it. You know what the worst part about all of this is? I got all of these really cool toys to fit in and I still didn't fit in. Why do my videos always end on these awfully bad notes? No, this one's gonna be different. We're gonna end this one on a good note. Penis.